it was just like, nope, you actually don't need this house. You don't need all this stuff.
The Old Trails fire destroyed more than just a Spokane man's home. It took years of memories, family heirlooms, and a prized video game collection. Despite losing so much, he says the fire gave him something he never expected. That's ahead.
We're starting off the week with the heat building up, when we could get some relief.
Plus, city officials call a Spokane 7-Eleven a chronic nuisance after more than 125 calls for service in just 2 months. What the city could do next, that's tonight on your Night Report. Good evening. Thank you for joining us for the Night Report here on KREM 2 News. I'm Sydney Schofield. First off, on the Night Report, the man arrested on suspicion of starting the Old Trails fire could also face federal charges. Tonight, we've learned that the U.S. Attorney's Office is determining if Aaron Farinacci could face federal charges, as investigators say he set one of the most destructive fires in our region's history. 37-year-old Farinacci was arrested shortly after the Old Trails fire sparked and is facing state charges of first-degree arson. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of Washington said today it's working with state and federal partners to review the potential for federal charges, though they were not able to share the nature of those potential charges. This afternoon, Washington Governor Bob Ferguson met with Spokane City and County representatives about the wildfire response. He talked about how state and local officials are a big part of the state's request for a major disaster declaration. He also addressed a big concern for families rebuilding, essentially saying officials are working to cut down red tape to speed up the process. And as far as arson being the potential cause of the Old Trails fire, here are some strong words from the governor.
So we have dollars that we can get out the door for individual assistance. So far, we have distributed assistance for 260 households. That number is actually greater right now. This is being approved in real time. We have another 500 more who have applied. The average payment we're able to do is about $1,500. The key here is a short-term assistance. They're staying in a hotel. They need food. They need baby diapers, that type of thing. So that's going out there. The deadline for folks to apply for that state individual assistance is September 9th.
Now, he did say that he knows this is not our state's last wildfire. He's working to make prevention a priority in the upcoming legislative session. For families who lost everything, they're now on week 3 of figuring out what's next. I spoke to one man who tells me he's ready to move forward. You wouldn't expect someone to look at all this and feel grateful.
It's weird to say, but I do. I think this was a blessing. I really do.
A blessing. It's the word Christopher Guyton kept coming back to when talking about his home destroyed by the Old Trails fire.
I think God just kind of was like, you actually don't need this house. It's fine.
With his wife, cat, and 2 little kids, Christopher rushed from his home on August 1st, along with thousands of other Spokane families.
And I looked at Watch Street and I was like, yeah, our house is right in the... I was like, okay.
And though it wouldn't be confirmed until the next day, he just knew his home was gone.
It's super traumatic. Our babies don't know what's going on, you know what I mean? Especially my 3-year-old. She was for the first couple of days, she's like, I want to go home, I want to go home. We're like, we can't go home.
When he agreed to tell us his story, he met us at a park in Liberty Lake, not really wanting to spend more time around the destruction. And they're not planning to rebuild. They're going to start over in a new neighborhood in town, trying to figure out what their next chapter looks like.
It's just going to come in waves. It's you're going to be hit with the reality of your life is kind of different than you thought it was going to be or than it was 2 weeks ago. And that's just kind of the nature of it, you know?
The fire destroyed almost everything he owned, but in the wake of that loss, he found something infinitely more valuable.
There's a lot of people I haven't talked to in years that are like, oh man, I'm so sorry this happened. I really loved working with you, whatever. And it's
folks from all phases of his life reached out, offering to help, and people he's never met, too. He collects retro video games and posted about losing his collection to the fire on social media. People immediately started offering to send him games and consoles.
I just didn't expect people to care. They don't know me, right?
All of it recentering Christopher around what matters most: his friends, old and new, his family, and his faith. A blessing.
My kids are fine. My cat is fine, right? We got my wife and kids and my cat, and we're still all here together.
A surprising update tonight on a story we've covered recently. Firefighters who battled the Spokane area wildfires are now being warned that a supplement offered to them could have exposed them to toxic smoke. Fire crews were offered a breathing treatment during the fires to help prevent lung damage from smoke inhalation. One of the drugs involved in that treatment, glutathione. It's a powerful natural antioxidant made by your body's cells, but it's also taken as a supplement through pills, IV treatment, and inhalation. The drug has not been approved by the FDA. Though there is no evidence to back its use, some firefighters have said the supplement helped them feel better. Others, though, claim it made them feel sick. The nonprofit offering it says more research is needed, and it's exploring partnerships to study its potential benefits. The city of Spokane is taking action against a 7-Eleven that officials say has become a hotspot for drugs and loitering. The city issued the business at 2nd and Division a chronic nuisance order in July, citing 125 calls for service in just over 2 months, including commercial robbery, drug overdose, domestic violence, trespass, and warrants for arrest. So far, authorities say they have not heard back from the property owner, but say they are in communication with 7-Eleven corporate. If the nuisance continues, the city says the case could eventually go to court, where a judge could order the business vacated or impose a fine. All right, let's take a break from the headlines and head to our outdoor weather center. Meteorologist Cody Proctor is standing by. And Cody, it's about to heat up.
Yeah, especially as we go into tomorrow and into Wednesday. Today, we managed to top out around 84 degrees here in Spokane. Tonight, our temperatures will drop down to those mid-70s. Pretty comfortable for the most part. And our winds incredibly light out right now at this time. Now, as we take a look at our current conditions around the region, we're not the only ones that are in the 70s. That includes Moses Lake, Coeur d'Alene, and Sandpoint. Looks like, though, Pullman and Moscow dropped down to the mid-60s. We've had some pretty clear skies for tonight. But heading to the next couple of days, we're expecting the heat to pick up. There is a heat advisory that's set to go into effect at noon tomorrow for parts of the Lewiston and Clarkston Valley right there. This will stay in effect until Wednesday night because of the hot temperatures that we are expecting over the next few days. So if you live in these areas in particular, just be aware that the last 6 hours have been incredibly quiet for us around our region. And over the next 12 hours, we should continue to stay quiet. We do start to warm up pretty quickly, though, as we head into our later morning hours. Could be up in the low 80s already by about 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. Expect highs to be around 92 degrees tomorrow. We could be seeing some breezy winds as we take a look ahead towards Wednesday. But eventually, we're looking to see those temperatures drop, but just how much? Find out in your full forecast.
Cody, thank you. Bear Lake is set to close again tomorrow, so authorities can continue their search for a missing paddleboarder. In late July, a paddleboarder went underwater and did not resurface. Deputies presumed the man drowned. Since then, crews have been searching the lake for any sign of the paddleboarder. However, they say due to recent dangerous conditions, the search had to be paused. Now the Spokane County Sheriff's Office says its emergency operations team will return to the lake. They want to stress that it will remain closed to the public during this search. The 3 people known as the Spokane Three are asking a federal judge to overturn their convictions. The 3 were convicted in May following a 2025 anti-ICE protest in Spokane. Jack Archer and Justice for All filed motions Friday seeking acquittals on new trials. The third, Bajan Malvawala II, previously filed a motion in June. Their lawyers argue there was not enough evidence to prove they conspired to use force or threats against federal officers. Each faces up to 6 years in federal prison. A hearing on the motions has not yet been scheduled. A Spokane County man will spend nearly a decade in prison after pleading guilty to a series of break-ins. 40-year-old Sean Ponder pleaded guilty last week to multiple burglary, theft, and firearm charges. Prosecutors say Ponder burglarized homes in Chattaroy and Spokane Valley, stealing laptops and jewelry, and then broke into a business on East Trent Avenue and stole a firearm. A judge sentenced Ponder to 116 months in prison, the maximum allowed under state guidelines. Prosecutors say his 18 prior felony convictions, including 4 burglary convictions, led to the maximum sentence. A downtown Spokane brewery is closed after a fire damaged the building and its tasting room. Lumberbeard Brewing owner Brett Gordon says firefighters quickly put out the fire on East 3rd Avenue, and a fire door and sprinkler system helped keep the flames from spreading. But the tasting room was left covered in ash and water, while firefighters cut holes in the ceiling to check for any hidden fire. The Spokane Fire Department says the cause of the fire remains under investigation tonight, but Gordon says he believes it was intentionally set.
If it was an accidental fire, I feel like it's a little easier to just be like, oh man, we got to make sure we mitigate any other chances. But the fact that someone started the fire is a little more like, I really hope this doesn't happen again.
He says the community has already started reaching out to offer support. For now, he's hoping the cleanup moves quickly enough to get those taps flowing again within a couple weeks. Stay with us. More to get to here on the Night Report. The Supreme Court allowing parts of President Trump's mail-in voting plan to move forward. It's not clear, though, how much will change before November. We'll tell you what this could mean for the midterms in just 90 seconds.